Based on the success of the first two Mario movies, it's beginning to look like we've got the next big franchise on our hands. While I did really enjoy the Mario Galaxy movie, I don't think it was the greatest next step from the first movie. So, starting from that movie onward, I'm going to give my outline on what I would do in the future of the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. So, first, for those not familiar with what has been set up so far, I'll just give a general outline. So, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the Mario Galaxy movie yet, but you've probably seen it if you're watching this. So as it stands right now, Star Fox and Ward were introduced, Bowser Jr. and Sr. are in jail, Daisy appeared in the post-credit scene, Donkey Kong's currently in New York, and there were tons of cameos, most notably from the Pikmin and the Sand Kingdom in Mario Odyssey. These are all some of the things I'll be going off of for my franchise outline. Starting off, the next step Illumination will take is probably making a Donkey Kong movie. I think it's confirmed, and if not, it's heavily speculated, but I think they should absolutely let Seth Rogen write the script. He wrote the new Muppet Show revival and TMNT Mutant Mayhem, so he's proven that he can write very good yet still kid-appropriate movies. And if we're being honest, that'll make this the only movie in the franchise with any chance to get a Best Animated Feature Oscar or nomination. This is also a really good chance to introduce Diddy Kong and the other various Kong characters to have in the universe. Next up is a Star Fox movie. It's basically all but confirmed we're getting a new game, and I think the success and sales of that game will decide whether or not there's a movie. Glenn Powell is super passionate about it, so I think there's a chance that Illumination could make this movie for less money because Glenn Powell could take a bit of a pay cut to voice him. On top of that, I think he'll want a part in the writing and producing of the movie, so the project will basically be completely done by him. Star Fox, in comparison, is more of a niche character, but Illumination has never produced a box office flop, and he appeared in the last Mario movie, so I'd assume this would make 5 to 600 million on an 80 to 90 million dollar budget. This is where I'd say they have the next Mario movie after two more solo movies, from those being Star Fox and Donkey Kong. The first one really isn't based on a certain game, and the second is basically just a direct sequel with light galaxy theming. So I think the third will follow that same narrative, and they'll probably end up calling it like the Super Mario World movie. While the general premise and name of the movie doesn't really matter, it's what happens in the movie that does, specifically the post-credit scene. First, the obvious for the whole movie, introduce Wario and Waluigi, with Donkey Kong and Bowser forming kind of like a weird friendship with Mario and Luigi. A genuine complete villain for them would work wonders. Plus, they're both some of the most iconic Mario characters of all time and need to be introduced at one point or another. Also, I think this movie should focus on Luigi more, for a reason I'll say in a little bit. The post-credit scene of this movie, or the ending, should show Daisy getting kidnapped by King Boo and Bowser getting kidnapped, or Peach getting kidnapped by Bowser, setting up the next two movies in the franchise, starting with Luigi's Mansion. I just learned right before recording this that Nintendo is actually pitching a Luigi's Mansion movie to Illumination. But like I said, if this will be the next movie in the franchise, I think the third Super Mario Brothers movie will focus on Luigi a little more. I know the game is slightly different, but based on what we have right now, I think the need to save Daisy is a great way to set up the Luigi's Mansion movie, which, I mean, honestly, for sure would end up being one of the best possible movies we could get. While the game features Luigi trying to save Mario, in this scenario, he'll be off doing his own thing, which I'll talk about next. So Luigi will have to save Daisy. In the Galaxy movie, Luigi told Mario he should ask out Peach and see if she has a friend for him. So this would be a perfect way to give Luigi a romantic interest. Like I said, Mario's off doing something else, and that'll be the Mario Odyssey movie. I really, really hope we get this because Mario Odyssey is my favorite non-online game of all time. I just replayed it recently, and it's better than I remembered. Preferably, this would be a 2 or even 3-part movie, because one movie couldn't have even close to every world. But I have to be realistic and say it can just be a 2-part movie, where each is 90 minutes long. Despite 2 movies, there's 17 kingdoms, so I'll have to cut a bunch. First, unfortunately, the Sand Kingdom. It already made an appearance. Then the Lake, Lost, Cloud, and Seaside kingdoms will all get cut, because they're shorter kingdoms. They don't have as much going on as some of the others. And the Wooded Kingdom, because I think, I don't really think they would include it because the dinosaur already appeared in Mario Galaxy. Plus Dark and Darker Side of the Moon, because those are basically just both bonus levels. So that leaves us with 9 kingdoms, which is still a good amount, but we have 2 movies. So starting with the first movie, Of course, it'll begin showing Peach getting kidnapped, which would have happened at the end of Mario Brothers 3, and then Mario getting the Cap Kingdom and meeting Cappy, probably the most necessary piece of the whole movie. Next, I think Cascade is a pivotal kingdom to have, just to give the audience, many of whom likely haven't played the game, an introduction to the rules and premise. Next comes a long gap of kingdoms that we unfortunately have to skip. Then I think for the sake of making a movie, we'll go out of order a little bit, where Mario will go to Snow Kingdom, followed by Luncheon Kingdom, then finally heading to Metro Kingdom, where they have to play Jump Up Superstar. And it's essentially a break from the action before the next kingdom, which is the Ruin Kingdom. They'll go to the top of the Ruin Castle, the dragon will show up, and then Mario will say something like, "Don't worry, Peach, I'm coming." And then the movie will end, which will then start Mario Odyssey 2. This will start with a pretty easy boss fight against a dragon, since there'll be two more in this movie alone. And then Mario will head to Bowser's Kingdom. At this point, he will have had some easier fights against the four Brutals, but this is where he'll have a real boss fight against the giant brutal mech. Fast forward, because you know what happens if you played the game. So now we get to the moon, and Mario bursting through the church, interrupting the wedding at the altar, would easily be such a great movie scene. And of course, Odyssey has the greatest boss fight in video game history. No notes. Just completely put that in the movie. And of course, it probably has my favorite video game ending of all time, with Mario jumping up and throwing Cappy at the camera, and then the credits roll. After that happens in the movie, there could be a post-credit scene showing them arriving back at Mushroom Kingdom and Mario getting reunited with Luigi. And lastly, the placement for this one doesn't really matter, but I think there should be a Pikmin movie. They cameoed for a reason, and while I've never played the game, I would definitely watch a Pikmin movie. I think it would be cool. Another big thing, no, there should not be a Smash Brothers movie. It would be stupid with no plot and ruin any forward momentum in the plot of the other universes all the other characters are in. So that's it for my Mario Cinematic Universe, or MCU if you will. Let me know what you would do and what future movie you're most looking forward to.